It's most likely a misdiagnosis. A lot of you are starting to figure this out. You're starting to find out, wait a minute, this diagnosis doesn't seem right. I'm having all of these symptoms and I'm being diagnosed for something that I've never had, like allergies. A lot of you have, if at all, very minimal allergies, but you're being diagnosed for that. So let me tell you something here. Let me explain. This video is going to be very important. I hope all of you get a lot out of this video. So please like and subscribe to the channel because I'll be bringing content your way. But back to the real focus here. It's very important that we address that if a doctor or an ENT specialist or any provider diagnoses you with allergies, it's substantially going to destructively change your mindset in the way you heal from whatever it is you're dealing with, whether that be tinnitus or ETD or patulous eustachian tube disorder. Now, it's not just one of those things where it's like it's aligned with what I'm already dealing with. It's a real opposite distinction. And let me explain a little bit about that. When I myself was dealing with the condition, as all of you know, as eustachian tube dysfunction, I got diagnosed with allergies maybe 2 different times by 2 different providers. I went to 2 different offices and they were saying, hey, you have allergies, you have allergies. And I always told myself, and I thought to myself, and I said, wait a minute, that might be true, but what I'm dealing with, the symptoms I'm dealing with it's not really giving me allergy vibes, if that makes sense. Like I'm dealing with some symptoms that I don't think allergies can make me do. For example, the anxiety, the sudden anxiety, having nothing going on that would produce that kind of level of anxiety. The spatial, the alternate reality, equilibrium, off balance, circling, weird, kind of like discombobulated feeling. No, not allergies. Now, some of you will say, well, yeah, allergies can clog your ears and it can kind of, it can give you that sensation of clogging, and then, that can mess up the equilibrium. No. This is a whole different ballgame for me. And so when I was diagnosed with allergies, I started telling myself, then it has to be the food then. It has to be something I'm doing and what I'm eating. And I started kind of readjusting how I eat and what things I eat. And then I realized that I was still having the symptoms. So I was like, well, okay. What I mean by adjusting the things that I ate is I stopped dairy. I stopped coffee, as a lot of you already inclined to know. I stopped caffeine in general, meaning sodas as well, even black teas and green teas, would really put those to a halt. Then I started having more symptoms, more problems, and more things going on. And so I started putting two together, and I said, wait a minute, now this doesn't seem right. This diagnosis seems off for some reason, And the reason why these doctors were coming up with this diagnosis is because they would take that camera and go up my nose, and they would see the narrowing of my nasal passages. And so I can see where allergies became an easy diagnosis for that situation. They would put a camera in my ear and they'll see that, okay, this is some inflammation there, some buildup and possibly fluid. And then allergies was where my mind went. So I started thinking, okay, so I'll just do allergy related things and try to heal myself from that stuff. And then I started realizing that I was getting worse and worse and worse. Then the anxiety was getting worse and worse and worse. And the mental health was starting to go down, 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 down. You go through this little roller coaster for a little while. You ride this roller coaster and you feel hopeful because now there's a diagnosis. Anytime there's a diagnosis, you feel somewhat hopeful because now they've identified something that possibly could be your case. And now you have to take that information and go figure out how to solve it. It's almost like someone in law enforcement has now been narrowed to a person that is at fault. Now they can go narrow it down to that person. Now they have something in mind to narrow it down to, instead of just feeling a certain way and not understanding what it is. And so you get this semi-relieved feeling of like, okay, they've identified what the reasons are. And then it's almost like you go that route. You start going that route and you realize it's not taking you anywhere. It's actually taking you a few steps back here, a few steps back there. And then it just starts to, level up in terms of your anxiety. And then now when you have the anxiety now this is when it really gets interesting, and not a so good way, I tell you that much. The anxiety will then take you to places that you've never been in terms of how you feel. You'll start to um, avoid things that you wouldn't normally avoid. You start to redirect your positivity in ways that you never thought you would do it. And all these things are happening as you're thinking allergies is the problem. And usually when someone says allergies is a problem, you start trying to identify, well, what's making me have that allergic reaction. An allergy is an allergic reaction to something or some things. The reason why I'm bringing this video up is I'm titling it, "You Have Been Misdiagnosed." Is because this is a mess up that can cause more harm than good. This is a mess up that is not worth happening if we can avoid it. And so this misdiagnosis can put you back years. It put me back a couple years. And the reason why I bring this up to the awareness of many people out there is because this slight misdiagnosis, it can set you back so far that once you, and if you do, we're praying you do, but once you get out of that realm of thinking you have whatever you're being diagnosed with, usually allergies, I'm going to pick on allergy on this sense, is because it's so far left spectrum that now you have to figure out how to get back to what's really causing my problem. And the reason why I say this is because for 2 years, I thought it was an allergy problem. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this isn't going to help with station 2 dysfunction. This isn't going to help with tinnitus. This is going to, now I'll tell you some of the positives that it did for me. The positives that it did for me was it did give me the awareness and the mindset and the ability to be better about my diet. So I will say, I will give you pros and cons. If you are diagnosed with allergies, you're going to make some changes because allergies will make you make changes. It will make you think it will tell you you need to do better so you don't have that reaction or your presumed reaction to something. So you're going to make changes in your diet. And if you've read as many books as I've read about health and wellness, you're going to know that allergies has a lot more to do than just diet. It has a lot to do with how you take care of yourself, with hygiene, how much do you sleep. This is all based on the immunity of the immune system of the body and how it can project things into the body and how things can either be blocked from the body or consumed by the body. So you start thinking, okay, I need to improve my sleep. This is when you give your full breakdown of yourself. More sleep, better health, better food consumption, better choices in my diet in terms of nutrition. So I started doing all these things. I started thinking, okay, I need to increase my vitamins, basically increase my healthy gut bacteria, probiotics, prebiotics, all of the whole works. Now I'm gonna tell you, those are the pros. The cons of the situation is that I still embody the feeling of what I was going through. Swishing sounds, the clicking sounds, the anxiety was definitely there, and it was not there before. Now, if you're a person that was like me and you've never had any, now I'm going to say anxiety. We all have anxiety, but I'm going to say uh, anxiety that's not in control. So if you were having anxiety related outburst or you're having this overwhelming sensation of stress and anxiety for no reason, then you're a product of what I was going through as well, because there is no reason that your body should be in fight or flight mode at all. It should not even be in that realm at all, because you're not doing anything that would cause you to be in fight or flight mode. And so going into the store, driving to work, those are things that I do daily. A lot of you do daily or weekly. And so to be in fight or flight mode outside of needing to be in fight or flight mode, there's definitely prompting you that there's an issue there that needs to be addressed. So that was one indicator. When I was treating allergies, I was in fight or flight mode thinking, what the heck is this now? Why am I in fight or flight mode? So then you start to embellish that. You start thinking, oh, that's how I am. That's the person I am now. I am this person that's high anxiety strength, and I'm in full anxiety mode, and this is just who I am. I have to take something for that too now. It took me a while to realize that I refuse to say that I'm just a person that's high strung anxiety based person, a person that just runs off of fight or flight. That's just how my natural abilities are. High, fight or flight. And you start thinking that's who you are. And the reason why this is dangerous, because it's not who you are. You're not a person. If you didn't have that before, let's say you were 12, 13, 14, and you didn't have if you didn't function that way at that age group, it's probably something going on that you need to address. And that is what I needed to teach myself, is that I never had these issues. Even as a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, I never had these issues of being in fight or flight mode, even if it was something basic and simple. It's just not normal for us humans to be in that mode. And a lot of you understand that if you're in that mode and there's no cause for it, you're going to do a lot of damage and wear and tear to your body. It's natural. You're going to not be able to sleep well that night. You're going to have high blood pressure. You're going to make poor choices because you're in this fight or flight mode. So you're going to think not from the core of the body and from the mind. The mind, you're going to just make decisions based on how you feel externally. And so this is why it's important. All the things I just named, see how scary it is when you really break it down? To be diagnosed with allergies can put you on a platform of just a terrible situation. It could put you in a different road that you don't want to ever go down. And now, disclaimer, some of you do have allergies, and treating it that way, I didn't mention any medication that the doctor probably gave you as well, inhalers and decongestants and steroid type medication, but I'm not going to go into all of that. But I will tell you, that's just not mentioning those things. But just on a personal level, without that stuff, it's going to put you in a different planet, and you're not going to be anywhere close to finding healing. In fact, you're actually going to go 3 or 4 planets away from the planet you should be on. And so when you are in 3 or 4 planets away, let's just say you're moons away from where you should be. And you're not going to find the healing you need. And you're going to be what I call is the carousel effect, or the roller coaster effect, going around in circles and not ever getting to your destination. And a lot of you are here right now. A lot of you are about to get on the ride right now. And some of you are hopefully about to exit the ride right now. So if you're in that program right now, and I say program because it is a program, you become programmed to thinking you have all these things you don't have. If you're in that position, please do your absolute best to watch this video and remember what I said. Analyze yourself. No one can analyze you better than you can analyze you. If you never was a high-strung person with a lot of fight or flight issues, yeah, your typical anxiety. Some of you are new parents. Some of you have new jobs. Some of you live in new places. I'm not talking about that. If you have not moved anywhere, figuratively and just in general, there is something that you need to address within yourself. And I don't want you to think that this is the new norm, because that's what it ultimately becomes, is that anytime you think it's the new norm, you adapt to it. And when you adapt to it, you stay within it and you never get over it and you never get through it. So I hope this video was very helpful for all of you. If it was, please take time to subscribe to the channel. I try to bring content as often as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to step out of the Jaye Wellness Studio and leave you in good hands with this video. Like anything else, folks, we're here to simply go back to the basics. Take care, everybody.